Here we have Pineywood Park located in Durham as a part of their parks and recreation facilities. It is also a dog park as well, and it features an athletic field, a baseball area, grills, picnic shelter, playgrounds, two restroom areas, tennis courts, and more, and it is located in a very secluded area off of Woodcroft Parkway and is open dawn to dusk. Throughout this video, I will go over some of the inherent risks that can happen at many of the facilities areas, as well as the typical activities that happen here at the park. Here is the sheltered area that also has grills. This area is great if you want to eat while at the park or renting out for events. If you would like to rent it out, it is asked that you do so in advance to receive a temporary permit, which details things you can do, how many people will be there, and certain things that will be at your party, such as alcohol. One of the biggest risks involved here is the use of the grills and its fire hazard. It must be checked to make sure that they are cleaned properly and that fires are extinguished the proper way and that everyone monitors what they are doing to stop inherent risk. One nice thing about this facility is that you can get everywhere on a clear sidewalk path. However, the area does have some attractive nuisance, such as hidden pathways that can get you to places that would bring inherent risk if someone was to trip and fall, even though there is a clear pathway to go, which is very close to where the children's playground is. So you know sometimes kids will run that way instead of going the other way. Here we have the small dog park area with a fence that is fenced in with a fence that is bigger than needed to keep the dogs in. It also has an initial gated area with its locks placed high enough to reduce the risk of small children wandering to the area even though it is close to the playground. It also has the rules displayed very big and multiple signage designating the type of dogs that are allowed in this area to reduce the risk of people bringing bigger dogs in this area. Next up is the playground area that shows the minor risks that can happen, like slips and falls if children are not monitored correctly by their guardians. It also lacks a sign that says the playground rules as well and when it closes. The next biggest hazard in this area is this place off of the playground that has been built into some type of tree fort. While not part of the playground, it is a popular place for kids to go hang out when they are at the park. It has a high risk of possibly collapsing and children getting hurt, but it has the restroom area, which is very clean. It has multiple bathrooms as well. They seem to be kept up very nicely, and they also have outside locks to be shut or closed down at night to stop other people from entering when the park closes. Here we are now walking to the fielded area, which has a nice clear pathway. One cool thing about the baseball area is that it's also located in a secluded area away from cars where you can minimize the risk of foul balls accidentally hitting cars and stuff, so you do not have to have signage. The one thing is that it is open. It doesn't get locked up, so you do have to worry about potential people coming after hours, which has its own inherent risk. But one cool thing about it is that it does have big field lights to help seeing at dark. One thing I would like to point out was the trash can that seemed to be broken and rusted, which that could be replaced because it has an inherent risk of cutting someone if they walk up to it too closely as well. It also has a path that is blocked off to stop vehicles from coming in this area, which is also good as well. This next area here is another part of the dog park. It's a special part that has a no wait. To enter, the dog must be registered with the city of Durham's Park and Recreation, and it also must wear their tags at all times, and failure to do so will be ticketed, which is good to show that you are putting your dog at some type of risk if you do not want your smaller dog around bigger dogs. It is already listed, and it also shows the rules of the area as well. Here on the other side of the park, you have the second restroom facility, which is similar to the other. Then you have the soccer field, or just the athletic field, which is currently locked, which must only be open to those who reserve it. You also have a clear pathway to the tennis courts that are down further below. Here you have the big tennis court that is open from dawn to 9:30 because it is a lighted area. Also, the biggest risk here is that it's very unpaved, so it has a high risk of people tripping on the uneven pavement and maybe twisting or breaking an ankle, but that's the biggest risk there. Lastly, you have this dent in the grass, which was properly cut off, but it's been, moved and shifted. So the biggest thing would be for someone to come back and put a clear area around it. While one can see that it is a hazard, it is not completely cleared off, so that could have potential risk. In each area, there were certain inherent risks that do need to be gone over in the risk management plan. And I will talk about the different policies that need to be added or procedures that need to be modified to reduce the inherent risk. In the dog area, the biggest risk is fearful dogs and children wandering to the area. This can occur at any time, and the risk could be slight injury to more moderate levels if dogs fight or children are hurt by unruly dogs. The biggest policy would be to make sure that the gates openings are high enough that it keeps children out of younger age out of the area. Other than that, the facility has done a great job with signage and the rules of the dog park and making sure that the dogs are registered. This helps reduce inherent risk because it waives the risk to the owners and not the city. The second biggest risk is the playground area. The biggest risk in this area is that there is no playground rules signs, which is typical in the park area, as well as the attractive nuisances of pathways that could lead to minor injuries like slip and falls. The playground also has an area in the woods that is a huge attractive nuisance to little kids. It is a wood fort that was built. It has no signage of the potential danger and could be very hazardous if it's collapsed on children or if they try and climb on it or remove the wood. The biggest policy that should be added is signage if they believe that this area is a unique part of the park. But ultimately, I think that the biggest procedure will be to remove the fort and all, and warnings should be placed to not encourage something similar to be built again. Second is the tennis court. The tennis court ultimately should be closed because it shows signs of being outdated and a slip hazard. The area around it should also be marked off to prevent people from falling into the ditch close by. That markers need to be rebuilt. Lastly, the athletic field should have a process similar to the dog park where you register to have events or practices there where waivers can be signed and the risk can be moved to another party. While hard to prevent accidents, if these policies are added to a risk management plan, it can reduce the inherent risk levels. Overall, the agency should have a monthly checklist in place where each area is assessed and its potential risk, as well as an online resource where incident reports can also be made by users of the park if they identify risk on their own. Overall, the implications on management will be 0 to none. It might require more supervision on site once a month and the removal of the wood fort initially. In addition, the cost of rebuilding The tennis court does not have to be immediate, and it can also be split up. First, the resurface can be done, which costs about $5,000 to $10,000, and it takes about a week to do and will last about 5 to 7 years and can remove a lot of the initial hazards.